𝗕𝗏's e-gold has gone up over 17% in the last 24 hours. In this video, we're going to jump down into the technical analysis on e-gold to see exactly what is going on and what we might expect to happen next. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button, really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump on down into the desktop and take a look at what is going on here with 𝗕𝗏 and the e-gold token. Okay guys, so here we are. We're going to start things off with the weekly chart. Okay, the weekly chart shows us the kind of good traction that 𝗕𝗏 has had in this particular bull run, and it gives us a bit of a vision as to where it can go as well. So basically there was the initial pullback. This was pretty much from August time, in line with the entire crypto market kind of correcting early August into September. And then basically by the time we had actually bottomed this out around the October time of 2020, we started to see a good rise in value here for 𝗕𝗏's e-gold token. Now, this was a fantastic opportunity if you could see what was coming. Now, obviously, me and Chris, we got in nice and early all the way down here. And that isn't to brag or anything, but it's just to highlight the fact that during a bear market or the early stages of the bull run, those are really where you see the maximum amount of gains. And obviously, as this bull run comes to an end, you're going to want to be paying attention to not only liquidating your assets and, generating the profit in this particular bull run, but also looking to accumulate projects in the bear market, because that is where you're going to be making serious amounts of percentage gains on your portfolio. Entering the market now is slightly higher risk than it was a few months ago, specifically when you were down at this point, right? So it's important that we acknowledge what has happened and how you can take advantage of it in the coming years. Okay, so obviously this had a good peak up here. This was around when Bitcoin was about 65k. We had that pullback, which was commonly known in the space as the fourth wave correction, and then we started to heat up things nicely. Now, we are not following 5 impulsive moves in the same way, because they're not exactly aligned to the right kind of bull run sense, but ultimately they would actually. Let me just pull that back down there. 3 and let's pull 4. Right, there we go. So for the most part, you actually see this kind of pattern, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern playing out for many of the altcoins in the space. Now, 𝗕𝗏 isn't following this exact pattern because it started a little bit later, right? So we actually saw the pull back down here, then we started to see this big move to the upside. Now you could argue that this is a bigger A up here, and a B, and then a C wave, right? And then if we actually go ahead and grab our fib, and we take this and we go and measure this up on here, we can kind of get to the very similar levels, 1044. And they might think, how do we do that? Well, we're using a couple of things, right? Obviously, wave C here is typically the same length and kind of distance, if you will, than wave A. They're pretty much exactly the same. The wave B usually retraces to a 0.168 area, right? So we kind of know the retracement level. Once we have A, we know where we're going to be retracing to, and we also kind of figure out where wave C is likely to go to, because high probability, it basically means it's the same as A. With that being said, though, this particular fib that you see in the background here is actually a trend-based Fibonacci retracement, taking this anchor point, and this anchor point, and actually plots it for us at $1,064. So that's kind of where we think the bull run is likely, or most probably, going to end for 𝗕𝗏 and e-gold in this particular scenario, right? This big A, B, C move to the upside. Now, obviously, there's a lot going on with the ecosystem that we could go much higher, right? And in order for that to occur, we have to acknowledge a couple of things, right? First of all, we need to measure our distance of our A wave. Okay, so we go ahead and take that, and then we go ahead and put this on our low of our B wave. And then we ride this back up, right? So let me just zoom back in here. Okay, so on this journey to the upside, we would have gone impulsive on our C wave, okay? And that would have been basically anything higher than the $373, right? So we can see that kind of coming in here. So we are definitely impulsive in this C wave, which actually means that we're not following the ABC method. Instead, we are following that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenario. So let me actually just go ahead and take these off for a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's actually going to be run from here. We'll run up to that point, down to here. Then we have our wave 3. okay, which we're looking to kind of top out with, and then we'll pull down into our fourth wave, and then we'll get that spike, okay? But the trend of the bull run overall is still looking at 1,064. We can, of course, overextend this last little wave to the upside, but for the most part, I'm going to keep it in line without any speculation as to where things are likely to go, but we'll basically bring that third wave in, and we'll bring that fourth wave down, and then we'll have that last little kick to the upside. Now, when we take a look at these, the third wave cannot be the shortest wave, okay? So if wave 3 ends up being shorter than wave 1, then obviously we'd have to expect that wave 5 will be shorter than wave 3. Of course, if wave 3 goes much higher, then again, that kind of means that we are literally going to be going outside of the technicals that we have so far, because we are running a limited data set, and we could be spiking up much higher. Okay, but we want to count inside of there as well, and because each one of these, the wave 1, wave 3, and wave 5, would be inclusive of 5 impulsive moves as well. Okay, so you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? So you kind of see how those things connect together. These are usually followed up by big ABC moves. Okay, so you'd have your A, your B, and your C move. Okay, so actually probably put that somewhere around here on your ABC. Now, when you have that kind of move followed up by the big 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, you kind of see a good direction going on here. Now, I don't want to confuse by going in with too many different wave counts, different timelines, etc. So for the most part, we'll stick to basically, the trend-based fib. Keep it within the realm of kind of, possibilities in terms of the end of this bull run. Okay, so with that being said, we do have a nice kind of area that we're aiming for, which is $1,064 based on the trends that we've seen so far, but it wouldn't surprise me if we do overextend that with that fifth wave. Right, now we know and understand that the good structure that's appearing here on our weekly chart, and we're heading good to the upside in an impulsive way. It's not just an ABC correction. What we can do is actually go back down into the next level. This actually is our daily chart. Now, the daily chart shows us some of the fantastic things that have been going on in a little bit more detail, right? We obviously have this impulsive move to the upside. Again, this is a part of our third wave, if you will. And before we had that fourth wave pullback. Here you can see that we tipped this off and then we pulled back in an ABC fashion. And we can see that we are still tracking, right? We are trying to push higher than we can actually zoom right in here on this particular ABC move, right? The C wave coming in on that 1.382, right? $442. Now we know that we've actually gone for a high of $444. So this is now actually ticking over into that impulsive realm, meaning that this is not a big ABC move, but instead an impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the smaller time frame. Again, this is building up into that weekly time frame. We've got to remember that, right? So our daily chart's actually looking very good. So what was tracking as an ABC, we've gone past the 1.382. This is now actually not an ABC at all, but instead an impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can remove that. I can go ahead and grab the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll go ahead and just pop this on. So we obviously have wave 1. We pull back for the wave 2. We are pushing up in wave 3 right now. We might have actually just hit that top. And then we'll look to come back down. Small kind of fourth wave correction, making sure it doesn't cross wave 1. That would be basically, $340, and we'll pull back, and then we'll have that last surge to the upside. Like I said, wave 3 cannot be the shortest, so if it's not as long as wave 1, then we would expect wave 5 to be shorter than wave 3. Okay, it would kind of keep it in line with those rules around Elliott theory. So ultimately, everything here is looking pretty good, right? We could be on track for coming up to our main area of us 2.618 at $558. Again, tracking nicely. Again, there's also the $583 option, which is actually based on this run that we're in right now. Okay, so that could be where we actually look. But it depends on what happens here with the third wave and whether this continues before we get that fourth wave pullback. We are, of course, heading up into the overbought area, so do expect some volatility there. And on that note, we are going to jump over to 𝗲𝗏.io. Now, for those who do not know, 𝗲𝗏.io use artificial intelligence and machine learning to help us understand the underlying value of cryptocurrencies. There's a link in the description down below. If you're not signed up already, I do urge you guys to go and check it out. It's completely free. You're going to get a lot more insight on your cryptocurrencies, and I don't think you'll regret it. So here we're actually taking a look at Elrond eGold. We can see that it's a B1 rating overall. Okay, so pretty good positioning, just short of that A tier rating, right? So we know it's pretty good from that perspective. We go down into what they call power factors, a little bit more detail on what is going on in the background. Here we have the 𝗕𝗓𝗃 ratio. This is your liquidity. This is an A2 rating, indicating that there's no problems with liquidity, both from centralized exchanges or decentralized exchanges. It's all looking pretty good. We have a fear and greed index that's specific to Elrond. This is driven from the AI, and this is actually a B2 rating. This is indicating neutral. It's not fearful, it's not greedy, and again, we can see it move in either direction at this point. But considering the candles, I would expect it to turn greedy before it does pull back, as it's the greedy indicator that normally is an indication of experienced traders actually taking profit. So we are looking out for that move to a greedy situation, then we start to see the potential pullback in the charts. So that's looking pretty good. We do have a Sharpe ratio that's a C2. Now, this is the area that you've got to be quite cautious with, because the Sharpe ratio has actually started to get a significant increase over the last few days, in line with what you're seeing now inside the charts and the price action. Now, we are still below that 50-day average, which is why we're actually getting a C2 rating. And this is a Sharpe ratio. So this Sharpe ratio is telling us that the risks outweigh the rewards, and we might actually want to hold off. Okay, so again, you use all these things to be or to make more informed decisions. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. Chris is not a financial advisor. advice.io are not offering you financial advice or buy and sell signals. What they're trying to do is give you all the tools to make more informed decisions, right? And considering the candle situation, considering we know that we're coming to a top of a third wave and we're expecting a pullback, I can see what this AI is actually talking about in terms of a potential pullback in the charts here for Elrond. So I'd be a little bit cautious. I wouldn't be FOMOing in at this particular point in time. I'll be waiting to see that fourth wave come down. Look for the correction of NABC. And again, try to figure that out. Make sure it comes in line with a 618 pullback. And then from there, we are looking to progress into that fifth wave. Once we're actually at the bottom of a wave 4, that's where this Sharpe ratio really kicks in and actually tells you now might be a good opportunity to actually have some exposure to it, right? So it's good to know these things. It's good to know that we've got a neutral fear and greed index. We've got a rather conservative and I guess cautious risk reward ratio. Moving averages are looking very good, profitability is looking very good, and everything else is looking pretty good in the underlying data. So just a couple of things to really note. Obviously, the Sharpe ratio, the risk reward ratio is indicating, or the AI is indicating to us that right now might not be the optimum time to actually get into eGold. So do play with that cautiously. And obviously, the fear and greed index is relatively neutral, waiting to see which way that's going to swing as well. So obviously, with the chart heating up the way that it has done, we have seen a little bit of a pullback. So let's actually go back into our hourly and take a look, right? We obviously hit that high. We've recently pulled that stochastic down. Now, this is the hourly chart, right? This is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we were tracking after going impulsive with an ABC move on the hourly chart. And here you can see that there was an ABC correction, and then we went up again, right? So here we are with an A, B, and C on this smaller time frame. Just after our fifth wave, there's always an ABC. And then we're looking to track back to the upside. Now, this could be a part of a bigger A wave, and we're looking for that pullback for a C, and then we see if we're impulsive again. So what we're really tracking here is this move, where we can see that we are pulled up for an A, we're pulling back for a B, and then we're looking to see whether or not that C is going to trigger an impulsive move. I still think there's a little bit more room to come down here. And again, if we grab hold of the fib, and we actually run this from the low area, and then we run it up, okay, to find that low, we can see we've retraced down 50%, but we haven't actually triggered into the 618. Now, the 618 doesn't always have to come in, but it is the most probable area of a correction, specifically with a B wave. So we are looking to kind of pull back down into that 618 area before triggering, and I actually almost put that right on the nose there, so I'll put that B right there. And then we'll go into this C wave, right? So we know that's kind of the area that we're looking for, and there's no guarantee of it, but considering the stochastics on the way down, we could see ourselves hitting that area. Now, I'm going to quickly just mark that up with a horizontal ray. We just grab hold of that, we'll put it there. That comes in about $405. Now, when we take our A wave and we take that from this time the top through to the bottom, and we actually grab hold of that and we put that on top of that $405, we can see that C wave most likely coming in right on top of this area here, the 618. That'd be $469. Now, if it goes up above that, okay, and goes up to the 1.382 like we've spoken about on the weekly and of course on top of the daily, then we're talking about $492. If we go above that, that's an impulsive move. It's no longer ABC, but instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so again, we're waiting to see how that one plays out, but everything's looking pretty good. This is a nice healthy correction after hitting that high and completing the ABC. Onto the downside. Now we're tracking to the upside. So everything's looking pretty good for Elrond right now. We're just waiting for this B wave to come in. This is where we start to see a bit of a buying opportunity to catch this last C wave. And if the C wave goes impulsive, fantastic. We've got it nice and low. We'll ride it to the fifth wave and take the profits there. Obviously, we don't tend to do too much trading. We do trading with the Patreon members, a couple times a week, etc., just to do more of the educational things around Elliott theory and counting the waves, finding the entry points, and how to actually use these exchanges. But for the most part, I tend to just dollar cost average during a bear market and hodl my way through, and I don't really have to worry too much about the stress of making sure I've got everything kind of lined up perfectly, etc. But this gives you a good general idea of where my mind is at in terms of what is actually going on here with Elrond and what we should be looking for, as the bull run kind of heats up and comes to completion towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. Timing is always the hardest thing to gauge, but we are expecting the end of this bull run to kind of come in by March. At least that's my opinion. There are a few things that might extend that above and beyond, but we're not seeing them just yet. So I'm just kind of waiting to see how things kind of progress through. Anyone who has, almost to give you a timeline to things, I think that's high risk, and there's no guarantee when it comes to timings. The patterns, they all play out. They'll play out, but they'll play out in their own time when they are ready. Overall, we are looking pretty good, pretty bullish. We're looking to track up. Obviously, after this, if it stays as an ABC and doesn't turn impulsive, we do expect to pull back there as well. Otherwise, everything for Elrond is actually looking very, very, very good. So, guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.